Good day, artificers. Today we'll be doing a little video on how I drill out bionic eyes for my miniature heads. It's a pretty simple process. It just takes a little bit of care, and there are a couple of considerations that I'd like to walk you through to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes as me and ruin as many models as I have. So what I have here is a little AdMech Skitarii head, and what we'll be doing today is drilling out the eye that protrudes, that bionic eye. Structurally is very similar to a Space Marine or Orc bionic eye. Is off to one side, it's not aligned with the center line of the head, so this would be a pretty good example. In actual fact, if I were working on this Skitarii, I'd probably drill out both eyes, but for the purposes of this demonstration I will be drilling out that one, the one that protrudes. So the first thing you want to do is get a hobby knife, and this time it really has to be sharp. Doesn't have to be a brand new blade, but it does need to at least have a good point on it. And this is the most important step in the entire process. Messing this up will mess up your entire project. And the idea is to mark a pilot hole right in the middle of the eye. And getting it right in the middle is difficult, it takes a bit of practice, but once you get that hole marked out, and you just want to do it real slow, there we go. So once you get that little hole marked out, what you want to do then is mark out a pilot hole on the base of his neck as well. So I've got a bit of sprue there which I'm going to get rid of. And if I look at it from the side, I can find the center line, and again from the front to find that center line. And now that I've found it, what I'll do is just twist my blade around till it makes a reasonably sized hole for my pin vise. Now you'll see that my pilot hole is just high by a smidge, and what I'm doing now while I widen the hole is I'm spending a bit more time with the blade pointing in the direction that I want to shift the hole, so that I'm actually widening the hole in that direction. So there's my hole. Here I go. So once I've gone down far enough, I'll check it again and make some adjustments with the blade pointing in the direction that I want to shift my hole, widen in that direction to give it a good place to sit while I continue widening. So as before, you'll want to eyeball the depth to about the center line of your head. That's where the neck is aligned to. Now, instead of making assumptions about how far I need to go while I'm drilling, I'm going to grab myself a Sharpie, and what I'll do is I'll mark how deep I need to go on the bit itself so I don't overshoot. And it's very wise to undercompensate in this instance so that I don't go overboard I'm back, and you see what I've done now is I drilled down to where I've started to hit that black region on my pin vise, and I'm going to move down now to the bottom of his neck and drill upward. And I want to do the same and mark out on my vise bit where I need him to go. And for this I can actually use a fairly larger bit because I want to work faster, and this is going to help me cut in and widen pretty fast. Always checking, making sure that I'm not overcompensating in any way. In cases like this where you're working with something where mistakes are irreversible, it's a lot better to undercompensate. Now, a word of advice. In a lot of these cases, Citadel miniature heads are actually hollow. You might hit a spot where your bit just breaks through. If it does do that, what you want to do is stop immediately and just check how far in you've gone. Now, so far in this case, I haven't broken through yet, so I don't think this head is hollow. In some cases, you will find it to be such. So I've gone in far enough, and this hole is going to give me a lot of space to work with. So what I want to do now is, with the knowledge that his centerline hole is far enough in for my eye to be illuminated by an LED, I will have to now deepen that eye until these holes meet, very much the same way that I did so for my leg drilling. So I'm going to switch back to a smaller bit. This is a slightly smaller one. I think it might be 0.5 millimeter. And start pushing through the eye, and I've angled it slightly towards the middle of the head. Without much pressure, actually, I've just broken through to that channel. I feel it give way just with a bit of pressure, and everything's gone in. So we have a through hole all the way to that channel. So what I'll do is just loosen everything up. You'll see in there, I can just about see both holes meeting. So what I'll do now is I'll start cleaning it up, just widening from both sides and making that channel nice and clear. And just making sure that all the debris inside his head has been removed. You can use duster gas, you can blow all that debris out just to create that clear channel all the way in. And the hole in the base of your head has to be wide enough for your LEDs to fit through. And now, depending on the type of LEDs you're using, you'll be able to drill smaller holes in the base to accommodate those. But in my case, I won't need very large holes. The reason is because I'm using these railroad modeling LEDs, and they are quite small. So if I open up this pack, grab one, you see they are far smaller than the 3 millimeter LEDs that I was using for my Redemptor Dreadnought. So I won't have to widen this by much to get that LED inside his head. So let's grab a slightly bigger bit. Now with a slightly broader bit, I'm gonna widen his channel a little bit more. Being very careful not to overshoot. You'll feel a difference in pressure once you hit the wall. And once you hit the wall, you stop right away and you test it again. Now what I've done is I've cleaned up the hole on the front and the one at the bottom, and I've widened out a cavity large enough for my LED to fit into. The principle now is to have a cavity that your LED can fit in facing his face outward, and a cavity here big enough for light to come through. That in the next video I'll demonstrate how to attach, fasten and fill in those holes. But the effect you want to achieve is a space in there that your LED can fit in, and I've just fastened that in with blue tack for now. And a channel that your light can travel through. And that is what we want to achieve. Thank you for being part of this video. I thank you all for liking and subscribing and commenting below. And my channel is supported by halfbox.com, half-box.com. It is a personal project of mine. It is a website where you can buy, sell, share and trade miniatures with people in your own town. There is a map browser that you can actually browse from anywhere in the world to see who's nearby you, who's put up a listing that has something that you want. Reaper miniatures, the Games Workshop miniatures, half a box parts, bits that you may want to sell. You can list on that website. I urge you to have a look at it. It's very new. We're still building up a population of users, and I'd very much like you to sign up and list anything up for sale or trade. And you stand a chance to win on the 15th of every month a miniature that I give away. So the miniature for this coming month, which would be the 15th of May, will be announced pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, please register and put up a listing of a miniature you want to buy, trade or sell. Thank you all. I thank you again, and as always, please have a nice day. Goodbye.